welcome to the MMA Freak Fighter of the Week. I'm Matt Salzer, and we're gonna do a little bit smaller of a video. I am at some point gonna get to more longer term, long frame videos. I am gonna discuss some stuff in the world of MMA, but the primary thing is talk about UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Volkov, and then UFC 258 coming up. But primarily, we're going to start with Alexander Volkov becoming MMA Freak Fighter of the Week. Congratulations. And again, this goes to illustrate, as I said last week, where I said that the winner of this would be up there in terms of title contention. And for all I know, Alexander Volkov could have earned the title. It's just one of those things where timing is just going to have to play in. But yeah, we saw Alexander Volkov go in there and knock out Alistair Overeem. And of course, keeping in mind that Alistair Overeem hasn't had the best chin. But then again, there's also the heavyweights we're talking about who could put someone out like that. I mean, we're talking about big boys here. So yeah, Alexander Volkov went in there and there was a little bit of a back and forth, but then ultimately he got an ending sequence that ultimately put Overeem down and out. There were a few other good fights on the card, but yeah, you know, you had Overeem saying that this was going to be his last title run, and it's unfortunate to see him being set back like this. I wonder if this is really going to end his career. He hasn't said anything about it, but it's just one of those things where if he does make another title shot, it's going to be down the road. And then doing a brief preview of the main event for UFC 258, Usman versus Burns. This is one of those things where Gilbert Burns rose very quickly in a very short time. And to be perfectly honest, I think it might be a little too soon for him, even though he's been in the UFC, beat some high-profile guys. I think it's too soon for him really to be doing this. I really think it's a little too early for him to be challenging for the title at this stage. I mean, he doesn't have that many UFC fights. And then on top of that, as I said, he's only beat a few high-profile guys within the very short time. I don't know if he has what it takes to beat Kamaru Usman. Not to mention, these guys are both coming out of the Black Zillions. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this fight goes. I honestly think it's going to be Usman that successfully defends his title. I recently saw that Tyron Woodley said that he believes that Burns is going to win it. We're just going to have to wait and see. There's always a winner's chance. There's always an underdog chance, as we have seen in the past. But I think the odds are for Usman in this particular clash because Usman is just a more well-rounded fighter. He's had more experience. As I said, Burns is an up-and-comer. I just don't think he has what it takes to do it. So then in other news, you have, in controversial fashion, Gina Carano, because of a post being dropped from not only the Mandolorian, essentially getting fired, but being dropped from her agency. Honestly, as I've been saying on social media, I think this is going to lead to something, possibly her coming back to fighting. And the thing is, the UFC still holds her contract, so if there's one place they have to go to, it's going to be that. And I'm going to find it ironic if she comes back, fights for the UFC, because it's going to be on ESPN Plus. Disney couldn't get rid of her completely. And in other news, Bellator announced that they are going to be doing a light heavyweight Grand Prix in addition to finally finishing up the featherweight Grand Prix. Man, that takes 3 years. 3 years it's taken for the featherweight Grand Prix to wrap up. That's just... what happened to one-night tournaments? But of note is also the fact that we're going to see UFC veterans Anthony Johnson and Yoel Romero finally making their debut, and they are going to be doing it in the quarterfinal round against each other. I think this actually makes sense. Now, you have two guys who are coming off of losses, and in order to make up for that, they are going to have to fight each other and get a win in order to advance to the semifinals. It'll be good to see Romero finally going up in weight, considering the fact that he's actually struggled to do middleweight bouts, so he's going to be going back up. It's going to be nice to see him be able to do that. He won't have to cut as much weight, considering that he's an older guy. Will be better for his overall health. And then in other matchups in the Grand Prix, you have Ryan Bader facing Lyoto Machida. Also two fighters who are coming off of losses, looking for a rebound to be able to advance. I'm not really happy with the fact that here Ryan Bader is the heavyweight champion. He lost his light heavyweight championship and he's being put in a Grand Prix. If he loses this fight, he needs to defend his heavyweight belt. He's not a champ anymore. Then you have light heavyweight champion Vadim Nemkov matching up against Phil Davis. And then the last fight, you have an ACA, which I believe is Absolute Championship Ahmed champion. I can't even pronounce his name really. Going against Corey Anderson, both of whom are coming off of wins. So that's the 8-man tournament. I'm glad we're doing it as 8-man instead of the 16-man that the Featherweight Grand Prix did. That's probably why this has been taking so long. They did a 16-man tournament. But then on top of that, of interesting note, is that Bellator is moving to Showtime. This is the first time we've been on Showtime since 2013. That MMA has been on Showtime since 2013, since Strikeforce folded. This is going to be very interesting to see for sure, but also one has to remember that since that time when MMA was on Showtime, you didn't see as much. Things have changed. The layout has changed very much. You have that Showtime app that's broadcasting for $5 a month, and you get a lot more with Showtime aside from just fights. It's a much better deal than DAZN, who at one point was charging twice that much, and then on top of that, for new viewers who are just coming on and not wanting to do the annual deal, wanting to do the month-to-month, you're having to pay $20 a month. So this is definitely a better deal than DAZN. I'm sorry, DAZN, bye-bye. Not gonna miss you. But yeah, the landscape has changed. I do think this is going to be a much better time to be on Showtime. But also one has to remember, this deal is the result of Bellator being owned by CBS Viacom, the newly remerged corporation, and Bellator has been bouncing around a little bit. They were on Paramount Network, formerly Spike, for the longest time under Viacom ownership, and then they moved to CBS Sports very briefly at the end of last year, and now here they are going to Showtime. It'll be interesting, and it'll be great to see them back on Showtime. Of note, part of this history may also have to do with the fact that this is Scott Coker we're talking about. Scott Coker, who worked out the previous Strikeforce deals. And then on top of that, you have Cyborg, who gets to be back on the Showtime network. So needless to say, it will be interesting. We're entering a new era of MMA. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you think of everything that's coming up. Be sure to follow us at Twitter on MMAFreakout.com. Be sure to follow me on my personal Twitter at MatthewSalzer and also on Instagram. Be sure to check out MMA-Freak.com for exclusive content. The MMA Freak Awards are coming. They were pushed back because of various reasons from last month to this month, but they are coming. The vote will be coming. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.